work with
It's the
Pearl
Paris
Jam now? How did
Chong
that come about?
Show.
I mean, I've known that camp and a lot of people in that camp for
Mhm,
a number of years. I've been a Pearl Jam super fan, as it were, from
mhm.
day one. So it wasn't hard to want to be a guy photographing them.
Right.
I was a photographer first. College, even as a little kid, was a photographer, and always loved live music, and kind of got bit by that bug early,
Yeah.
and just had that great luck to be 20 years old when 10 came out, and when Nevermind came out,
Mhm.
and all these things. And I was there to see it. I was in college, and I was able to go to these shows and see it happen. It was kind of like, to me, really like the last real sort of movement,
Yeah.
in rock. And it just got a hold of me. I mean, but both things really at the same
Yeah.
time: photography, live music,
So
this
when did you
live
start
story.
working just traveling around with them?
Um, so I've shot several shows of theirs over the last, I would say, probably 3 or 4 tours. Um, but now, being the full-time guy, the tour photographer, that just started really officially with this 24. Dark Matter is the name of the
Wow.
album, the Dark Matter tour. So we had I think 35 shows in between the US, Europe, Australia, New Zealand.
Wow, you're going all over the place.
Yeah, now we're going back out.
When do you leave?
April 20 something.
Mhm.
We head to Hollywood, Florida, and then we're kind of doing the southern route, and then
The
stop at
rowdy route?
Jazz Fest and Pittsburgh. So
Oh,
we'll be in
wow.
Pittsburgh too.
And how long will you be gone?
The legs are about 3 weeks, I guess.
So that's not
So
bad.
it's not bad. It's very
That's
like
kinda
it's
doable, right? 3
yeah.
weeks? Yeah, that's a good amount of time to be away from your wife without her wanting to kill you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, she's the greatest supporter of
Yeah.
all time. My wife, Jamina, when I had a call with Seattle, and they said, "Hey,
Mhm.
do you want to just do this? Do you want to kind of do it for real? The contract and all these things, and, do for real, not just 1, 2 shows here and there." I went and I told her that, and I said, "Look, it's going to be like 30 shows, and that's just this year. It might go into 2025."
Mhm.
And she said, "If you're asking me if you can do it, stop." She
Aw.
said, "But if you're asking me if you should do it, I'm gonna slap you, because you have to." She's like, "These guys are your favorite band.
Yeah.
You love them. You know every word to every song, and you try to play their music. It's a
Yeah.
super fan situation." And for me to be into a situation where they asked me if I wanted to,
Yeah.
um, it's like I can't even. Every podcast I've been on, every time someone asks me, I'm pinching myself still, because I can't believe it. I'm just a dude.
So Jamina sounds cool, and how long
She
have you been
is.
married?
We've been married for this is 18. It would be 19
Oh,
years. Yeah.
that's good. You know what?
Mhm.
I was just mentioning to Danny earlier that I just went to the Phil Caruso invited me to go to the SOC Awards, which is the Society of Camera
Right.
Operators.
Right.
And every guy that got up and thanked whoever they were thanking, well, mainly said, "Thank you to my beautiful wife. We've been
Mm.
together for 40 years, for 36 years, for 42 years, for 27 years." And they all were saying, "Thank you for putting up with me having to go away on a movie for 6 months." And I'm like, aha, that's the secret to these long marriages,
Oh yeah.
that they're still so in love with their wives, is that there
Oh,
is a little bit of distance in between the marriage, you
hundred
know? I
percent.
think that maybe helps. It made me think that, because I'm like, God, every single guy's got up here and said how much he and woman, a couple of women, not as many men, of course, but
Right.
they all thank their spouses for being so supportive and letting them go off for several
Um.
months at a time to work. And I was like, that's probably the trick then. You just don't, because once you've been with someone for so many years, it's good to take little breaks. I think it makes things
Yeah.
more interesting. So I like Jamina. I haven't met her
Yeah.
yet,
Yeah.
but
You have to
what
meet her.
Jamina?
Yeah.
What kind of name is that? That sounds
Um.
Latin.
She's white girl born and raised in Hawaii.
Oh,
But she had a name prior to that was then changed when she was 5 years old to Jamina.
oh, interesting.
And yeah, her name before that was Kemptha. So
Kemtha.
I think Jamina has a better ring
Yeah, I
to it.
like Jamina. Who
Yeah,
changed her name at 5?
her mom,
Her
her
mom, and
mom,
what's her name?
her mom's name is Barbara. So
Barbara's like, "I'm
yeah,
just gonna change Kemptha's name to Jamina."
yeah,
Is
yeah.
Barbara a nut?
Uh, I'm,
That's a loaded question.
is this thing
No,
on?
that's
Yeah.
a
What?
shh.
Yeah.
Sounds
No,
like a kook.
only in the way that, mothers-in-law can
Yeah.
be,
Oh, their
no,
mothers
she's,
and mothers-in-laws are
yeah,
horrible. My
yeah.
God.
She's
Ugh.
great. To a whole backstory there,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I think that's kind of confusing for a child to change their name when they're 5.
I think so too.
Wow. I
Um,
wonder what my son would have done if I changed his name when he was 5 and just started calling him Walter. You know, like,
right,
Leo, I named you Leo, but now I'm just going to change it to this.
because I feel like it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just started, I don't know. I just decided I don't like that name, but you know what?
yeah,
That's another story. So your wife sounds very cool. And you guys live up in Napa.
we do. Yep.
And how long have you been in the Bay Area?
We have been in Napa since 2007.
Do you love it there?
I love it there. I was not ready to move to a bucolic,
Yeah.
quiet
It is a
agriculture
sleepy, it's
town.
sleepy, right? A little
Yeah, I
sleepy.
mean, I lived here. I
Yeah.
lived in Santa Monica. I lived in Hollywood
Oh.
before that, Santa Barbara before that.
Yeah,
I was.
and that's funny because you were probably living in Santa Monica when I met you. So, um,
It's the Paris Chong